Guess that'll do. I guess I'm going. Didn't even know it. It's just these moons. Sending out that Argonaut, give you some Argonaut vibrations. Kills my arm. Well, good morning. Um, Happy Beaver Moon. Happy Harvest Moon. I hope that you got to manifest during this longest eclipse in about 500 years. We're still amongst the energy of the full moon. And so I hope you all are enjoying this night of manifestation in this long, beautiful night. So I guess I'll start here. If you've never watched me before, I go by Eight Wind is Timeless. This is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am the holder of the Sacred Infinite ball game created by the twins, Hero Twins, and I'm also your galactic daddy-o. And thank you for joining my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. Chief Blazin, what's wrong with your boys this year? That's right. That's right. Because that's all people have been asking me about. Why? Hey, Lorenzo. Hey, PJ. Hey, Key. What's happening? Hey, Vernetta. Thank you for joining me. Um, I'm gonna have to stay up all night. I'm going to the airport in about 3, 4 hours, so no need to really go to sleep. It's 1 o'clock here, so I'm gonna make me some coffee about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and head out. I'll be there by 5. So, um, sending. I just figured I might come on. I know on the West Coast it's a little earlier, but on the East Coast it's even later. It's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. I started meditating at 5 after 12, and I didn't quit until 10 till. So please forgive me. Plus, I forgot to start putting all my cards out. I wanted to put um, some different shapes out and stuff to help manifest. And plus, I wanted my cards to be exposed to a lot of this stuff, and so kind of took a little more time than what I thought. I was quite surprised. So thank you for joining me this morning. Hey James, thank you for joining me. I'm not really headed anywhere. I'm helping somebody go out there that is headed somewhere, so I'm not going nowhere. But helping somebody that is going somewhere, I'm helping them out. Hmm. So that's all. Just going out there. So it's not that far. It's about 20, 25 minutes. It's about equal. Well, it's a little, the mall of it's a little further than going to the Mall of America, but not much. It's all out there. Matter of fact, you can go out to the Mall of America and park, and you can take a train around to the airport. You ain't gonna leave your car there because it's only so long you could be parked at the Mall of America. But that's like if I want to go to a game or go downtown, I would just catch a train in, catch the train and take me from the Mall of America. Matter of fact, they're about to build it about 20 miles from me, a little closer to me than that. So just jump on that, take me right to the stadium downtown. It's 11. Yeah, it's 11 out west. You out west. It's 1 o'clock here. Did you get your phone back from your son? No, I have not got my phone back. Well, yes and no. Yes and no. Um, Switch some of the things over, but I still, as far as the invite, I still have to get the passwords because when my daughter did something, she turned that off. But maybe next couple of days I can get that turned back on. So still been lazy. Haven't really messed with the computer in a couple of days. So no, I haven't turned it back on. But yeah, text me or something. Tell me what day you free. It's a lot to talk about. A lot of like it is so many distractions going on where people don't even understand at times that that's what it is. That it's distractions. And too often that's what the world wants you to be tied up into in distractions. It's like they want you to feel a certain kind of way. It's almost like they purposely create these frenzies. I mean, as I was saying, I really believe that the Floyd case here was a test, but it was other tests before that one. And I'm often been said by people that know me that those first two, the Castile case and the King case before them, was test because both of them got a certain reaction. And so we have something going on now, a couple different things going on now that we're supposed to feel some certain kind of way about. And ritual, when you see ritual, you see how they try to do it. The price, there's a price. What do I say? Whatever Lola wants, Lola gets. So there's a price for being the shining one. Even if you shine just a second, if you use them to shine, there's a price for that. So you can't be surprised anytime they call in their marker. I'll tell you, I was watching John Wick 3, and John Wick 3 is one of the one movies that really shows you it ain't the Jesuits. He goes to the Jesuits that's played by Alicia Houston. He goes into them to make moves. And so the high table is over them. Because in the end, the Jesuits get penalized. They wipe all her men out and they penalize her. So that Wick gives out a lot of good information if you pay attention to it. Hey, Crazy Sarge, how you doing? But yeah, just hit me up, PJ. Hit me up. I don't have it set up tonight. I guess as Darkman X said, I'll just be preaching to the choir. Let me see if I see any contaminations in there. Everything's looking pretty good out there in the Wonderlands. Oh, let me say, it's cold as hell up here. It's about 25. Let me see. I mean, cold. I mean, the wind chill is really nasty. And I got to get up and go out. Whew, it is cold. Makes you like heated seats. Okay, it's 20 degrees. Wonder what the wind chill factor is. Doesn't really say. Usually the wind chill factor, but it's 20 degrees right now. And it feels like. I bet the wind chill factor is a little lower than that. Let's see. Not giving me none of that. See, Apple sucks. Google would have had everything right there. Telling me the air quality. Okay, here it is. Wind chill is 20. So it says it's similar to the actual temperature. Humidity, barometric pressure. People don't even mess with that kind of stuff anymore. Visibility, 10 miles, which is considered perfectly clear. Tomorrow's going to get a low of 19. No snow though. And it's November. It's cool. Dressing time. Dress up. So, okay, Ro. What's up, Edward? What's happening? I'm good. Got my daughter is moving out here in December. Well, good for you. Hey, what's up? What's up, Moray? Yeah, it's sad to see when they sacrifice anyone. I was about to ask you about the temperature up there. Yeah, it's cold. It was like tonight. My daughter had a baton tonight, and she had basketball. So I took her because it was like I had a little time to mess around. So we did baton, and I fell asleep in the truck. I was listening to Craig Facts, and I fucked around because it was like a little cold in the truck where it didn't quite freeze up inside when you was in there. Because sometimes really cold, if you don't have the heat on, it'll start freezing up around you. Didn't do that. Like I think I was sitting out there about 20 minutes, and I turned it on, but I had like a hoodie on, and I was like, what I had on was a little thicker than this one. And so y'all sit there, and I had the phone going. Next thing I know, I woke up. I fell asleep up in that bug, and it wasn't too bad. But when I took her to basketball practice, which is interesting, watching the little boys play basketball and the skill level and the difference in the girls, but still appreciating the girls and that my daughter, all I can do is help. But coming out, I felt so bad. One little girl's parents wasn't there, and she was in shorts. Like my daughter, hardly any of the little girls wore pants to the gym. I saw some of the young boys, but it was just funny that none of the girls wore pants or sweats. So, not me. I was fully like I forgot my gloves. No, what I did is I had to clean my cat box out, so I wore my cat box cleaning gloves out to my truck, and them ain't walk around gloves. They got cat nasty on them, so I didn't wear them. So, little cold. But again, as I was saying, it's so many distractions and there's so many things that they want to make you think a certain kind of way, make you think about things that really got nothing to do with you. Try to pull at your heartstring on things that don't really have nothing to do with you or your environment. And that's the main thing that people don't understand is your environment is really what is you. I mean, these are where the ties, if you have any, should be somewhere in your environment. And whoever that may be, that is who you really should look to, especially in these kind of days. Find out who's cool and who's not, and move from there. And this is how it used to be. I mean, neighborhoods used to be united. I'll say, I don't even want to say a name, but there were certain areas that rappers at one time kind of monitored, and people acted on a certain code when they went into these areas. They paid respect to these areas when they came in and out of them. And they've tried to take that away because they want you to distrust the people around you. When in fact, if disaster hits, it's the people around you that you don't really be dealing with. And they so often don't want you to cooperate with them, work with them. Now, I've witnessed this in my life, and I've done it. I've watched people having a big job around their house, and if I could just help, it would really make it easier for them. And I've done that without being asked. Just go help somebody. I've had somebody help me. I had a big corner lot, huge lot. And one year the boys was all there. It was warm. We all rake leaves. Another time I'm sucking them up by myself. About 2 acres. Guy came and helped me. Shoveling. I've helped people shovel out. I've watched when I was in high school, I had a curfew. I parked my car facing out because we had one of them storms I've always talk about where we had up to your waist in the streets. This is after. Still a ton of snow everywhere. So my girlfriend's sister had a little apartment where you had to go down a little hill, and it was just really enough for about 6 or 8 cars to park. And this was a hilly area, so like behind the area was like a drop. And so I watched this dude. I'm in my car, warm him up. 1:30. I got to be home at 2. I'm like, I'm about to make it. And I'm dressed up because I think I had a game that night, so I'm dressed up. I had my leather coat. I had a pair of probably Stacy's, if not Gators. So I'm kind of dressed up. And I looked at this dude, and when I looked at him and he turned his car on, I said, this dude gonna get stuck. It was an older dude. I knew him, but I watched. I was like, he gonna back up. I just looked at it. I was like, this fool is gonna back up. He gonna get stuck because there's a little drop. Sure enough, that's what he did. I sat there and watched him bloom. And then as he tried to get out stuck, he's like, think you can help me? And the only way I could help him was to get behind him and push. We threw some boards and shit, and I was like, hit the gas. And when he hit the gas, it just this leather coat, it ruined the coat. I never got the coat clean. That mud just dried on there, but it just like flop, 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 just splattered to me. And I go home, and I helped him get out, go home about an hour late. My parents are still up worried, and then they see me. They was like, oh, did you get stuck or did something happen? I explained. And the way I looked, it explained that. But that's my point is you have to see who around you would move the way you would move. And then the same thing is the people who would be opposite. Because again, if something happens, people have to work together. Guys, look into SIGA Technologies. I believe they're about to release smallpox. This is a good stock if you make it. Yeah, I saw that. I saw a couple people talk about that, but I've heard the smallpox relations, but the company, it's been a lot of talk about the company. I've noticed. You're about the third mention I've heard today. So all I do is watch. But it was that company. There was a couple different ones today that moved. That's the system. The system is where do you want to gamble? Because the stocks is a gamble. Working with hedge funds. I remember my cousin. He does tax repairs. Her husband. And I was like learning about hedge funds and how they worked and stuff. And he's like, he's African brother. He's like, stay away from him. I'm like, okay. And I learned about him. And I learned how to make money from him. I'm like, yeah. Well, he didn't even know about it. I learned, and I ain't even, I'm not even an accountant. And I learned more on how to use them than his advice. His advice was just not to explain. He didn't even explain. I wanted to see if he even knew because he didn't really have to explain much. I understood, but like kind of laughing at him. Okay. So that's why I don't feel emotional. People pay the price. People pay the price to get that shine. That's all. However it comes. And that's the thing. This is the thing is you have to understand you are dealing, and this is the most simplistic way to look at it. You are dealing with a beast. I mean, this is the easiest way to you to understand how gross this thing is to understand this thing is the most grotesque thing you can imagine. I mean, like I was trying to talk about the divine feminine and how the divine feminine is all about sexy. No matter how the sex is, it's all with all of aspects of it. But this ain't near as trying to define what this total corruption, this thing that is simply you call it the beast because it is something like a little bit of everything in its grotesqueness. It's almost like when people have bad trips, they're like, well, I got pulled into, and then I got quartered, just talking about bad trips on what's the possibilities or what they think would be the worst thing this thing could do. Even from just a spiritual idea, spiritual experience. But that is what this thing really is like the most grotesque thing it can offer. It's going to constantly want you to feed on that. It doesn't want anyone to have high vibrations. What does the witch say? She says, love or above. That's how every day should be. And so the thing that's good about right now is it shows you its face. That's all they talk about is it. I mean, this is personally why I'm against all this thing they're talking about, because this is part of it. They say, what's so different from this and everything else? This comes directly from this negative source, this grotesque source. And it shows all that's with it. It shows all that's down with it. It shows all that will push its propaganda, that wants to show its face, change its face, put that smiling face on it. The stock market is definitely a gamble, but so is life. Yeah. What's your take on the Zach Stacy story? Again, it's the okay. I noticed a dude on Craig Facts had the King Kong shirt on, and he appears to be like a simple agent, a simple Smith. Like it wasn't hard to make him a Smith, but anyway, he had it with the Denzel. When Denzel got the Academy Award for being the stupidest crooked cop ever, but he had the shirt on to say King Kong. And if you think about, like, even they did the picture relating LeBron James to King Kong in the same pose. Well, that's what it is. It's the same thing. I mean, we just saw the thing with Ruggs. We saw the thing with him. Too much money, spoiled, drunk, goes 150 miles an hour, which ain't believable. Not where, and that's, you got to look into Zach's work with Rhino. Rhino breaks down where this happens. He's supposed to have went 150 miles in a motherfucking neighborhood. Not out on the highway, a neighborhood. So that's not believable. That's one aspect of what we're seeing. Okay, the other aspect is the King Kong. Again, we just brutes. We get money, we just brutes. And you notice it was the mixed. So what kind of signal do you think that's trying to tell? That we are just emotionless. We don't care about our children. We would just snap and do anything. When it's that much filmed, you've got to be kind of leery of it, one thing. When it's that much pushed out, you have to consider agenda. You have to consider that. Again, it's going to the heartstring. It's making, again, the King Kong. That's all we are brutes. And if we have European women, we have no regard for them or children or anything. We just snap, and all we can do is just be physical. And that we have no compassion for anybody, not our children, not our woman, nothing. We just totally say, fuck the divine feminine. So you see that, you see how it's trying to paint everybody. Because think about it. What are a lot of people saying? They saying, fuck the trial in Wisconsin because it ain't got nothing to do with us. Okay, so they do a story. The story's got it, but we're not. But we're not on the brother side. We're on the European girl side and the baby side. You know, like you said, said you was disgusted by it. See, you on the woman's side of it. He brutalizes woman. So do you see how they have to keep doing it? Everybody's saying fuck Wisconsin. Well, they ain't got nothing to do with us. Yeah, Ruggs fucked up, but really, rich motherfucker ain't got nothing to do with us. This has something to do with me. No, it don't. It really ain't got nothing to do with you. Again, is it real? We don't really know if it's real. Don't really even know. And this is again to get your reaction. So that's why you have to stay objective when you look at this stuff. Like, is this real? Because when it looks over the top like big time wrestling, pretty much might be. I mean, where can a guy hide? How long can most people hide? I mean, shit. If he want to get any money or it move around, it's impossible almost to damn near hide. You to hide, you got to get rid of this or have a flip phone, CB radio, something. So it's not easy to hide. So I mean, be objective about it. And I ain't on either one side. I'm just saying it ain't got nothing to do with us. Went to the hospital I used to work with to get a job. Now they are making you either get it exemption, even if you got the exemption, you still have to get your nose. Wow. Every 2 weeks. Yeah. I saw a dude, I knew a dude got killed like that. They punctured his brain. He was a homeless dude. Punctured his brain and killed him. Kenosha has bad energy, always saying some shit up there. Well, I've worked a lot in Kenosha. Anyone's from that area, that the outlet is in Kenosha. And then right up the street from Kenosha is a big, huge gym complex. Like you come off of like if you're going in Wisconsin, you coming off the toll road, or you going down 41. If you come through the city and you don't pay toll road, or you just come 41 and come out that way and hit Kenosha that way, going through 41. Because the way the highways go back to 94, it's like if you took the toll road, and there's another name for it, I can't think of it, but because you can pick up the toll road before you get to Gary. Before you get to Gary, you pick up the toll road and go around Chicago. Now it's a southern way to go around where you ain't even got to go to Milwaukee anymore. I got a way where I can go south and I don't go around Milwaukee. I go south of Milwaukee, south of Chicago, and then come up. But that's just right there. Kenosha is right there. All my buddies is from Racine, which is right on Lake Superior. If I want to pay for my car or my truck to go over to, what is it, Saugatuck, Holland? I think it's Saugatuck. They'll drive me across Lake Michigan in my car. Still takes about 5-6 hours, so it ain't really just easier, more joyful ride, but costly as a plane though. So I can't really say it's from my personal experience. We used to spend the night right there off 94. It used to be like a night's in. We used to spend the night at. Matter of fact, we went to this Long John Silver in Kenosha so much we got to know the dude that worked up in there. We was hanging out with him. He was taking us little joints around the area. So I've kicked it around there. But I've seen others talk about but didn't look into the study what you're talking about. But something in the back of my mind is always being objective. Brutal black man abused a white girl. Of course, yeah, yeah. Football player. They couldn't wait to say football player or ex-football player. It's like it's a classification. It's almost like, well, we got to classify him because it's a shaming of the athlete. I mean, all this stuff that they've been pulling, it just makes you wonder. Gosh, let me make sure I say this cat's name right because he is so freaking on point. The one career that's the worst career to go in right now is rap. I mean, it is one of the worst kind of businesses. Yeah, like if you don't really into Zach, watch Infinite Consciousness. Infinite Consciousness. It's one infinite consciousness with the one and the infinite. Listen to his breakdown. There was another brother. I think he's too far back. Yeah, it's too far back. But listen to him and how it averaged 200 people. I mean, other dudes have started making films of all these rappers that have been killed, like 200 last year, and so far I think it's at least towards the end of the year. I couldn't imagine. I can't say what it is, but it went in 2020. It was almost like every 44 hours a rapper was getting killed. I mean, it's just ridiculous that you hear that this occupation, and it's taking these different ages, because remember, rap is what, damn near 50 years old. Hip hop rap is about 40 years old. No, well, I mean, really, if you look at rap being Hammer being the first, like, who would be considered a rapper. I mean, maybe some people would say Rob Bass, maybe Rob Bass instead of the hip hop lyricist. But the first rapper, I think, is Hammer. So if you look at from there on, look at the bodies, how the bodies will just fall from that one thing. I mean, you would think old actors would die more than these hip hop people, these rappers, but now rap seems to be a deadly thing for young men. I mean, it's just amazing. And then the gunplay, like how, and this is a thing too, like some people was showing the guns in the videos, and then these dudes get killed by guns, which doesn't make a lot of sense. And I mean, ambush is a real thing, but when I used to go hard hustling and was gunning up on people and slapping people with pistols and stuff, I expected anything. I was numb to everything. I mean, it was just always just be ready, always. And I guess that was from my police background, because that's how I looked at it. But even when I quit being a cop, I still had that kind of focus on anytime, anything. And I carry pistols for purposes. I carry them just in case. And I've always been like that, just in case. And if you are portraying that, and I know it's an act, and the same thing with the people in the movies, but these rap kind of artists now is so in your face, so close to you, and then you find out their demise is like this. Why would you be shocked? This is what they supposedly was about. What did Ice Cube say? What did he say? You playing, Big Worm ain't. And that's what a lot of these people do. They play tough. Of course, the questions was asked is like the timing. Like, how's just perfect timing where you just able to know? I mean, that's the thing. It's like this is, as I said, talking about Joey, the mafia killer out of Detroit, which I believe is the Iceman. How you watch people's patterns. Now, from the little bit I've heard, how did they get his patterns just to see your car move? I mean, do you know that the amount of surveillance it would take for somebody to see your car move and say, "Hey, I just saw so and so's car." Well, where do you think he's going? Um, you know what? I think he's high, and I think he's probably going to get something sweet. I mean, just the timing that it would take to absolutely know. You would almost have to be bugging his phone, talking to his people. Yeah, the motherfucker went over here. I mean, how else? How else do you get the timing like that? That people are ready. I mean, we move through going to the store and coming out, and if the store ain't empty or ain't busy, I mean, like this evening, I just told the story. Between practices, we had about little hour to move around. So how do you do the timing? How would you know? So all these questions have to be asked to for you to fully make sense. The timing has to be superb. So I don't really give a fuck. I'm working on beats these days, not rapping. Oh, okay. It's damn near 50-year old. Look to rapper Tom McDonald. He speaks a lot of truth. Okay, okay, Moray. It's damn near 50 years old. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you really go into Cool Herc and those kind of beats, because rap really came on the heels of funk. I mean, rap really did. James Brown kind of had that rap flow in some songs, especially after you get into Papa Got a Brand New Bag, when Catfish and Bootsy started playing with him. The one, and then with Fred Wesley and the Horny Horns. And both of those later went and played with George Clinton because Clinton kept the one. But on the other hand, you had Sly Stone's um, funk, more little more organ dominated because a great musician that Sly Stone was. But then you had Larry Graham and the same horn. So we had that sound coming. If you hear any noise, it's just me and the boys. It's a rap when he calls the lollipop man the big head sucker or something like that. Unless you go into the Lost Poets, but theirs is more spoken word onto some music, I think, more than a rap. Now, Gil Scott by himself, yeah, little his flow is more like that. But he plugged into what was going on. Because when the revolution is going to be televised is what, 78, 79, maybe 80 at the latest. So and we've seen how it turned out. Well, good. Well, rap made a song called "Warning." He was getting a warning about guys coming into trying to kill him, but Puffy's ex-bodyguard tried to warn him in real life, but he brushed it off. You still going to games knowing it's scripted? Um, yeah, I still enjoy games. I mean, I like going live because I like seeing the script. You can see the script a lot more when you're there. It looks a lot more like a play. When you go to sports live, it is a lot more like a play. It's more realistic watching it on TV than it is live. You see the TV timeouts and everything. Um, I like sports. I mean, I really do. Uh, but I have to show how they corrupt it because it could be used for the good. It could be used to bring neighborhoods together, local stars. And so that's why I report about it. That's what keeps me in the bog because I report about it because I look at it as really something sacred. So yes, of course, I like seeing it live. Um, I didn't understand like Biggie going back out to California never made sense. Uh, they could have got just as much. They could have got just as much on release on his new album. I mean, it seems so much like a setup going out there. They're in different cars. I mean, you never, if you're being protected, you sit in the middle. So if it really was real people that was guarding him, he would have sat in the middle in the back where the windows is blacked out, not in the front. That seems like a setup. Is it real? Is it a sacrifice? But like, why didn't he record? So you got Shine that's in prison that they recorded off a cell phone, made a whole CD off a cell phone rapping uh, from prison on the telephone cell phone, on the landline prison line telephone. Biggie is on his back with a fucked up leg. Why isn't equipment around him? No, so that never made sense to me either. He was in a bed for about a year, no recording, like no writing, no recording. So that made me think: did that person really get killed and they brought a new one out? Because that never made sense. 10 months on your back and you're not recording, and you ain't got little recording. They just said they found Jimi Hendrix had recorded Joni Mitchell one of her live sets when she was young. He brought just the simple recording equipment. They enhanced it and they've just released that, recorded and engineered by Jimi Hendrix. And he just had old fashioned reel to reel right there recording her. So you telling me he couldn't have that back in what, the 90s? They had recording equipment. So makes you wonder about that story. Uh, when I was around 5, I would ask myself, "Why am I here?" And the next thing that came to my mind is, "It wouldn't be easy if there was nothing at all." Hmm. When I was around 5, I had asked myself, "Why am I here?" And the next thing that came to mind is, "Wouldn't it be easy if there was nothing at all?" Yeah, yeah. I mean, I talk about that, like things that don't want to be counted, don't move. Like, don't move for what you would be with us thousands of year by its own cycle. And so that's part of the void too, is that you just exist through it. You really don't make a lot of type of moves. You're really not trying to walk on light. So yeah, yeah. We're not saying don't watch the games, just know the script when it happens. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Never have an emotional tie to it anymore. And I mean, I loved Magic so much, and it hurt me so bad when they would lose, like that time where Magic just dribbled the ball out of his time and never gave it to any of his players, just dribbled the time out like Van Sickle did a year or so ago. Magic did the same thing. Ralph Sampson just throws the ball, just gets it and throws it at the basket with his back to the basket, and the shit miraculously goes in. The Lakers had a better team that year than the Boston team that won. So it makes you just wonder. I feel like we have been fooled. The beef was made up and fake to punish the negative influence throughout the industry. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree, PJ. Greetings, Elder. Hope you have been well. Well, thank you, Eternal Life. I have. You mentioned the timeline of history has been fabricated. How long do you think we humans really actually been here? Um, that's that can take us in several different directions, because in some ways you can look at like almost every moment is fabricated. Every moment is illusion like. Um, but moving aside from that, just going with it as your question of there's a knowledge of us, and how long do you think this knowledge of us has really participated in this? How long have we had human participation? Now, one thing that's brought up about the mud flood that we know that they've done throughout time is they just had children, and the children just grew up, and they give the children a history. And as the older children become older people and told stories to the slightly younger children, a lot of what they tell them was made up stuff that they was brainwashed into telling them, to making it seem like they had been here forever, when in fact this might only be 3-4 generations or something. So that's a part of mud flood that does. We know they've done those type of experiments. Now, saying it's us or not, couldn't say, but those type of experiments have been done on, it appears, humankind or mankind or human. And what point, when did they do that kind of thing? I mean, there's a lot of good work showing the amount of lies that this government has, or whatever is in charge, has gone to suppress the people in North America. I mean, the suppressing of information. The If you listen to Richard Pryor, and Richard Pryor talks about the pro African stuff coming in the 50s, because that Marcus Garvey stuff ended in the 20s. Now Elijah Muhammad came in the 30s and 40s, and pushed that agenda. So there's been a lot of, we can't even trust what they say. I mean, it's been that kind of lie. This whole, and as I've said before, dudes, it's funny. Like I mentioned about rap, it's like my generation is like, you hate rap or hip hop, or you liked it. It was like my age group was. It seemed like, because I was a young man when it really came in 70. When it really became 78, 79 is when it blew up on the coast, where rap competed with funk. 79, Rapper's Delight, Christmas album or Christmas song, Curtis Blow, when it started competing with funk. So, on the other hand, the pro African stuff, dudes older than me, it's hard for them to comprehend. I know when Dane was going on Joe Brown, but yes, a lot of what Joe Brown was saying was propaganda, but that's what them dudes, like the dude 63, really the dude 61 on. It's hard for them to believe that it's any other way than what they was taught since the 60s. This was taught to my generation, the baby boomers, I mean, really taught since the 60s. So when they first came in with this stuff and you was in fourth or fifth grade, you've been indoctrinated. I mean, the kefi cloth, the wearing the little medallions with Africa on it. I mean, it's always been something to push that agenda. Commit on people, the commit in science. I've told this story before, and this was one thing I thank the combatants for. One thing I think, well, Rasta brother hit me, and again, I have ability. You can tell me something, and I can live what you are telling me. I can watch or I can experience as you telling me. I can do it either way. And he hit me with, he was like, well, to be a commanding priest, you had to levitate. And while you levitated, you able to have the, draw the grounds that you around. And again, we in a closed room just smoking. It's about 95, and we just smoking, no smoke coming out, and we're getting this, and I'm just in that frame of mind, and it's just like that hit me, just to levitate, and then just to see the land where I lived, and being able to come out of it and still kind of describing what I all saw. And that's the practice. Like I give that practice of how to leave your body too, because that's one of the things I think that opened it for me, was just that idea of just levitating out. And so I was cool with that. I mean, he gave me a little bit of that science, and I was able to use it for sure. Hmm. Uh, Big told his man, "Don't worry. They're going to get the money. They're not going to stop." But Big told his mom, "Don't worry. They're not going to stop building their gang to get the money." There you go. I enjoy watching how they attempt to dupe us, and watching these grown men and women get emotionally invested. Yeah. I mean, that's this thing in Wisconsin. Like they said, It's the brothers and sisters live in Racine and they live in Milwaukee. And Milwaukee, my cousin live in Milwaukee. Milwaukee's very segregated. I mean, unbelievably segregated. They had an issue there too. They had a test case Milwaukee a year or two before this stuff came off. They had something else that happened in Racine or Kenosha. So, but there's no melanated people really in the state. I mean, for me, when I have to go to Michigan, I go across Wisconsin, and there's nothing in Wisconsin but land. It is when they say dairy and dairy lands, it is plenty there. I mean, you see, like I've said before, they had the most mounds, and you see them as you go through. It's nothing but flat traveling. It's nothing like being out west or being in the mountains out east. It's just flat traveling. But there's no brothers and sisters. I mean, really, the only melanated people, like it's 3.5 million people. We are the 16th biggest city here. There's 3.5 million people here. There's only about melanated people 250,000 to 300,000. That's it. There's more Hmong. There's more Hmong. There's almost 500,000 Hmong here in this area, and this is just from the 80s. There are more Hmong than melanated people here, and they're a type of melanated people, but there's more Hmong. So here, Rochester, St. Cloud, like my son was just way up north in Duluth, and it ain't a whole lot. There is a casino up there of natives that live way up there too. Mm. What's the most important thing you can do for your soul, your spirit? I don't know if there's any one thing, um, because so many things can uplift it. So I wouldn't say there's one more thing important than the next. I would say the one thing that you should always do is keep your mind open. Keep your mind open and working and working on what you feel is best for your spirit. Stay in the harmony of love, the vibration of love as long as you can. That is one thing. And let nothing break away from that. Even though you don't dislike someone, it's like the saying, even when it's bad, it's good because it is. Even when it's bad, it's good because it is. If you understand that. Because or you could say because it's life. I was not really wanting to use that, but that's kind of what fits in there. So when it's bad, it's still good because it is. So that's the biggest thing, is to, as you get older, keep working on your spirituality. Keep working on it. Like, never get to the point where you don't work on it. You don't try to raise your vibration, finding new ways to raise your vibrations. What time is it? Okay. I got a couple hours before I head off. So there's not more one thing more than the others, I think, because everyone's path is so different. It's like stones might not work for everybody. I mean, the way you vibrate, for some reason they won't talk to you or won't open up around you. But you might be able to open up just colors. You put certain colors around you in your house, and those open you up. And there's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean you can't keep your vibration high off that. Shapes, sounds. I mean, there's so many different ways to work on that thing. Like right now, I've got like a snowstorm planned, and I like the howl of the wind more than I like the rain sound. I mean, there's a time for the rain sound, but I take the 8 wind part. It feels like it lifts me higher. Listening to that kind of thing compared to listening to the rain. So keep your mind open. That's the main thing, is keep your mind open. Don't lie to yourself. Know yourself. Don't like try to lie, try to split yourself in two. Say, well, I'm a little this, a little that. Don't try to split yourself in two. Stay together. I think when Brother Bomber says wholeness, that's what he's talking about. Because so often we want to split ourselves in so many different parts to be so many different things that the whole is gone. So I understand. I just don't want everyone I speak to repeat it back to me. That gets a little creepy. Just tell me how you're doing, however you do it, what's happening, what's going on, what's popping, what's cracking. But don't repeat some shit and everybody repeat it. That to me is kind of creepy. Well, let me grab something else to drink. Ah, here we go. Ah, this is probably pretty good. It's been out a couple days. I had left this at the pickleball court, and I've got the sugar, and someone was good enough to take it off the picnic table, put it against the fence because it gets windy on the picnic tables. So it's cool. Cool neighbors. Somebody probably knew it was mine. So, but it's been too damn cold to play pickleball. I might go play indoors. Ah. Uh, how do you deal with the boredom for meditation visualizations? Siova, looking for the lunar eclipse. It came at let me see, you out east. It came at 1:11 your time. So it was like it was the longest one in the 500 years. So yeah, it's been going, but it's still the full moon. Matter of fact, it's the red moon out right now. Yeah. Hey, thank you, Siova. Same to you, brother. Just Milwaukee. But how do you deal? Oh, boredom. That's a tough one there because I don't get bored when I meditate. Um, the thing about it is, it's like the hard thing of meditating is how long. That's kind of why I like music, because music is a good way to gauge how long. Most of the time, sometime I'll do it too short. So I don't know if I ever get bored with it. I really don't. So much is happening that I can't say I get bored with it. Um, now visualizations is a little different because, well, visions, I guess you're not talking about really having the visions and studying the vision and trying to get the clarity from the vision. I don't think you're saying that you're saying trying to visualize, types of success. um I don't know. I would say the other part, because you don't really mean visions, but visualizations. The part of visualizations is to remember to be here now. Because that's another thing. Like me, I can create so much. I mean, I can see where Alzheimer's people could get locked into past thoughts, because that is a type of trap that can be given to you, especially when you get older. You can just get locked into thinking about the past. And it's like if you keep your mind so much on that, you almost, it's hard to snap out of that, because right now you're not being here now. You're wasting away out here. So uh knowing the games are scripted, how come retired players don't talk about it? What's your take on that? Well, Tyrone, like what Kwame Brown's facing. Kwame Brown is only 40. Kwame Brown won't get his pension until he gets 50. I mean, he'll get some of his back end money now, but he has a pension coming. So most, and if I've gone this many times before, these are lifelong commitments in most instances. I mean, when you see these dudes talking after games, you never know how long these people have known each other, known somebody that knew them. And I mean, these are lifelong commitments. So why would you speak against something that, even though you didn't play pro ball, still propelled you? You're not going to speak against that. I've gone over that many times. You make it to the college level. Do you know how many people you meet? You play college for 4 years, and all the people, the teams you play against, and the people you come across. You talking about networking? Being a star athlete is one of the best networkings in America. You get exposed to a lot of avenues. It's people that did one or two good plays their whole life and been able to skate on that thing. I mean, look at the people going to the Olympics. Really, what is the Olympics? 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then that's it. I mean, of course, there's championships leading up to it, but it's not a lasting thing. The lasting thing, shit. Just think, it is so important to some of these people that they keep going every 4 years. They keep at it because this is the only kind of fame they can get from it. So that's why it's not hard to understand that. My eventual goal is to do nothing but meditate. Cursing the Falcons. Yeah, the NFL is just going to keep cursing the Falcons about 51. Oh, they sure are. They sure are. Meditate every day. I mean, that's, I don't want to talk shit about my cousin, but that's what they said when he went to India. They said when he went to India and got a guru that they would just pop acid and be out meditating every day. And that's a lot like the book Be Here Now talks about the same kind of deal. But he was one of those type of gurus, or what's the other word with an M? I can't think of it, but yeah. But there's more to it than that. It's just dealing with people too. Just seeing how you evolved as a person. That's true. That's something to too. Throughout the water flotation for thoughts on water flotation for meditation. Um, I'll give you, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. This is a funny thing. And again, when people tell me things, I can experience them. Um, like I had a great grandfather. Let me get this right. My great great grandfather. My great great grandfather was named what Macon? Josh. Josh Macon was my great great grandfather. More than likely, he came out of Virginia, but he ended up going to Mississippi, and the area where Nathaniel Macon bought land, he bought land. But I bring him up, and I'll show you how this all goes together. And I might have talked about this a little bit the other night, but one thing he started doing as a boy, he would jump in wells. Now, again, remember, a well, you might be 15, 20 feet down before you hear water. Some wells had the rope, and you could just throw the bucket down and the rope would untangle and hit the water. And some, the way the systems was made, so if you jumped in the well and then somebody threw the bucket to you, some of the ropes were strong enough for you to crawl out. Okay? So, but if you really just go from the point of being inside a well, just floating, I mean, you're talking about one of the most grounding things. Most people would be fit, that claustrophobic, but it is just like the earth is just holding you, because all around you the wells are made of rock, because they dig through, basically it's a lot of rock, all around, and it is just I don't know, it's one of the most grounding and touch feelings with this earth that you can just imagine, just floating in that water. Because, like, again, he jumped in one time, and I sitting there, and I was like, I had jumped in already, and I was waiting for him, and I wanted to experience what he felt. And I was like watching him, and then just that look, and it's just like when he did that look of just being in tune with everything, is just like he transferred that feeling to me, and I was just like, whoa, this is such a feeling of freedom, but just freedom for being part of the earth. And so that is something that most people can't even experience anymore, because most of the wells are closed up. But it goes into that being able to find yourself floating. Yeah. Uh, some ways, for some people, they would probably find that easier to leave their body, because again, a lot of the weight of your body is taken off you by the water. So yeah, yeah. The quiet. But as you're laying there, nobody, yeah, and even some of the earbuds now is waterproof. So yeah, I think it's a good way. Um, Greetings, dear. What do you know about activating superhuman powers? Also, some of the sports players, even humans at all. Examples: the kid I used to think about, Michael Jordan, could really fly. Well, I've said this. What's his name? Bobar. Uh, the dude that's getting in all the commercials. He's in the Chime commercial. He's in the Cracker commercials. He's not human. And it's funny, Brother Seven must have been biting on a little of my work, and he talks about how some of these cherub relations is in sports. But again, I've been pointing that dude out when he was playing with the Pistons. When he first got put in the league, I was talking about that dude ain't human. But it ain't just him. You can see several others where these non-humans want to be famous. So yeah, definitely. Uh, like even Michael Jordan makes no sense. Larry is 5'7", his brother. His daddy was about 5'7", 5'8". Their older brother James, about the same height, but he gets to be 6'6". What's the odds that he would grow like that's kind of how my son grew. My son in ninth grade was probably 5'8", and he's 6'6" now, 6'5", 6'6". So I used to call him the runt, and he grew. But I mean, he comes from big parents. But Michael Jordan, no. So it makes you wonder. And we have so many of the stepdaddies, and even it's the stepdaddy. Who's the daddy? That's why I always say about LeBron and Nate Thurman. They look alike. Hey, Jeffrey, you can get superpowers once you take the vaccine. You get blood clots and heart attacks. Hey, Sydney. Um, but Cindy, I'll tell you this. This is what is in you, and I'll go to the extreme just to show you. Like we've had cases where cars were laying on children, and women just and again, this is a great rush of adrenaline, but someone you never thought could lift a car off a person could suddenly do it. So the power is already there. It's activating it. It really is activating it. Like you don't have to, like Kundalini. The way to activate the Kundalini just doesn't have to be activated meditation wise. I mean, if you really like take an example, if you're a healer, if you really are into healing, you might have to power up a little Kundalini to heal. I mean, I'm sure that's what Dynamo Jack is talking about, is building up enough chi to heal certain areas. Now, most people wouldn't look at that as a superpower. Um, but remember, a lot of what they call superpower is fantasy. And so there's so many other ways, because one superpower is definitely being able to leave your body at will. Just be able to shut off everything, and then leave your body at will. I mean, like the way I do the chakras, when I get that shit going, it's like the whole room is filled with spears. It ain't just like some shit right here, it's like everywhere. That shit opens up everywhere like a damn screen of that shit. So you could look at that as being something everyone can't do. So again, define what you would need as the superpower. Like from the moment I was a child, I loved the Flash, and then later I run into the time walking information, and it's Flash explained a lot of it on the how. And obviously they had heard something about this and created this character for them to say, we own this energy. We'll call it the Speed Force, but we own this. And I'm able to go, oh, no, you don't. So Remember, you don't want to astonish people with what you do. Most of the time, whatever you do and whatever you're good at, you know, and I know with this kind of platform, you open it up to everybody, but people ain't never seen me do no miracles or nothing on here. I give advice because even if I could do, which would be considered a miracle, why would I do it on here? Why would I want all the attention for it? All the energy vampires would start. So so a lot of it, hold enough to your chest. Bruce Banner did, or can you just mess with your DNA and slice it with a spider? I've noticed my superhuman like experiences have either come under extreme stress or extreme relaxation. Yeah, yeah, that's kind of a duality too. Um, well, Banner again is the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. That's all that is. They just figured out a different way to do Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's all. I'm in here with jokes today. That's all right. I think it's someone opening a door for you as you approach, just having that thought beforehand and connecting it to someone else. I will give this out. Uh, like my crystals put themselves in position to work with them, and so my Lemurian cube was in a different position. So I was like, okay. So I started working with that and working with the Lemurian type of energy, opening that up, and then I followed it with some Numite. I followed it with Numite because I knew that uh, the doors that would start opening, I would have to have something to help me travel through that. And so one thing that I noticed it started opening for me, and I even my like Dutch doors, I know is a way to move through the czars. When I see that, when I see the double like Dutch doors, I know that's a way to try to move through the czar. Or if I just see a single door, but today, and I know some people say this may be Masonic, but I even saw an arch, and I was like, that could have been used as well. So even an arch came in. I'm like, I'll use that too because I can't get trapped by using that. So, yeah, yeah. But I really like I was like commented on bomber stuff. I talked about how he was trying to say that when you want to be possessed for whatever reason, you cut off the ram's head and then the spirit comes out the ass and then you use the ram as you're possessed and the spirit comes into you, whatever you're trying to heal and whatever you need the spirit to do. He's saying that you would take the ram, and he's talking about the Tsar sisters, that you would need the ram or you would use the ram to propel you through. But I disagree with that. You would not need that. You wouldn't need the blood or none of that. Now, if you did want to do the exchange because the entity could heal someone and you did get to do, again, the czar would be open to you. I mean, it would be that's the agreement. You bring this in, but you get to go into the czar world. So I don't really see why you would need the animal. Now, again, that goes into shamanism because shamanism works with the spirit animal. I don't really see that when them czars, and I'll say this, and maybe this is too much. Okay, I'll just say this part. The way I've been moving has been right with the czar stuff. I've been moving like that all along. I just call it a new name because I learned a new way, but I've been moving with it all along. I'll say that. Technically, we all have superhuman strength, but our nervous system limits us. I think the way to overcome it is not to care if you live or die. That would make you be kind of reckless. You have done what some would say as miracles, others might say magica, although it could be explained as opening perspective to new things. There you go. That's very well put, Crazy Sarge. Yep. Seriously, you truly have powers. You just have to focus, unlock them, and maybe not your time yet to show it to the world. That's a good point too. That's a good point. It's there's no time limit on how good you can get at your spirituality. There's no time limit, and you can just keep working on it, keep improving. I mean, just every day a little thing that just gives you a little more gleam. That's all. Every day you just get a little more gleam. Um, like what I do miss about She Legit, it definitely helps with visions. I mean, it surely does. It helps with making dreams clear, but visions too. It brings in visions. Pure chocolate, very similar. The bitters seem to bring in that kind of clearness. Just doing bitters, but She Legit, a little more than I would say chocolate. Um, I am fine, same, but I've been be calm and happy. And when I'm not, I'm like Carrie from the from the horror movie. Because when I get upset, it's not good for the person I am talking. Car crashes, accidents, and death. It's funny. Gosh, who was I with was like that? I had a friend saying the same thing, that she, when she wasn't balanced, her unbalance was a lot similar to that. Very similar. Uh, Somebody very similar has some very similar experiences. The boy from the Twilight Zone everyone was afraid of. So I asked ancestors not to kill folks no more. Well, I guess to put you in the best situation you can be in, I guess is another way to look at it. Is yeah, the best situation you can be in. That's the thing of keeping your like not letting things throw you off. Keeping your motivation, your keeping your vibration high enough, the lover above, like the witch says. With power comes great responsibility. Yeah, yeah, it's somewhat true. Like I talked about the witch. Let me tell you, this chick now, she hit me a couple years ago for talking shit. She hit me with the bugs, which I had to get on her because the shit went over to my neighbors. But she did another little hex that is just the stupidest little shit. It's like my trash can smells like fucking hell. It's like I buy a new one and within days, because I put them in the same spot, and it's like whatever freaking hexes, and it's this shit is just so funny to me. I'm like, just like she wanted to do something to just make me think about her is really what it is. Just a little thing to irritate her, and still little get fruit and the little gnats and shit. I had to get on her because the bugs, she her magic was fucked up, and she fucked up one of my neighbors, one of the handicapped little boy. Her magic was fucked up. She was aiming that shit at me, and it went to them. And that was some fucked up magic she did. But she does these other little things that it's just like, okay, you want me to think about your ass still. I won't marry you, chick. Not in this realm or the other one. So, what are dreams? Use power to focus your shots when you shoot your guns or your sword. Uh, what are dreams? Well, I've said this before, and I'll tell anyone. We have a screen we dream into. That I say without hesitancy. We dream into a screen. I'm sure that's where TV comes from. I am sure that's how they made these mirrors, because the ones that are able to see these screens, it looks like looking into a mirror. The way that the screens play out is almost you don't see the reflection, but you see the scene as clear as a dream can be. It's like looking in a mirror without a reflection. You're seeing an event, and that's what a dream basically is when it goes into the screen, you start seeing the moments are moving of it could be a lot of different things. It's never really one thing, but it can put wake moments in there. Now, can they be joined into, contaminated, bothered? Absolutely. If you don't have the right protections, like tonight, one thing I did do is I had about this much sage left. I gave myself a sage bath. I saged in here, saged the whole spot, because that's another thing for the new moon that you can do. And again, the new moon energy is going to go 2 more nights. It usually gets 4 days before and about 4 days after, so maybe three more nights. But it's coming in like tonight. The energy is stronger tonight than it's going to be tomorrow night, especially with the eclipse involved tonight. I'll probably do a little again. I've got to stay up because I got to be somewhere. I'm gonna make coffee in about an hour, so when I go out in the cold tundra, I'm going to have hot coffee. I'm going to be in the car for shit. It's going to take us about 25, 30 minutes to go, unpack, and then I got to drive again another. So I'm going to be in the car for over an hour. So that's just how it goes. So my adventure. Had to do it a couple weeks ago. Took the plane an hour and a half to come in. The plane was supposed to come in at 9, and the plane didn't come in until about 1:30. I didn't get home till 2. So I got a lot to do tomorrow, though, too. Although I realized I was under a spell. My ex would do the same thing. It took me a while to realize it was a witch. They're very good at hiding during relationships. Anger can cause release of energy and wrath, which can be unpredictable. It really can be. Like one of my dreads, and I'm sorry, is I have put so much hate towards my ex-wife, and I've hexed her so many times where physically I see what it's done to her. Now, a lot that she's done to herself, but on top of what she's done to herself, the my evil intents to her haven't helped her, despite what went on in our relationship. Just it was hard enough on her. A lot of fucked up things happened to her, and then this on top of this. And so I do regret that, and especially with my abilities. So yeah, like you said, with power comes responsibilities, and I put so much dread at her that it just piled up on top of everything else that was on top of her. And not to say some of it she didn't deserve, because she did, but looking back, it's like football used to be a penalty called piling on. It's like I piled on. But yeah, in a relationship, you definitely can be under someone's spell. You just have to see the patterns. That's why I was just saying was like when the brother and everybody saying wellness. That's to me that's parroting, and we know parroting is a spell. That's why I always joke about the end of the day spell. And then the thing is, that's the new one. The thing is, some people say the kicker, the kicker is, but the thing is, the thing, that's something Biden put out there, or the deal. You know, that's 70s talk. This is the deal. But see, he says it, motherfuckers start using that shit. Parenting spells. So that's why I don't like the wellness, because it's a type of spell. But yeah, but it's times where you can get to see if they witches. You can yeah. It's times, especially women. And how do I want to say this? this is this is a way you can see if your woman is a witch or not. Because if you pay attention to her orgasm, there's a type of vibration that they can hit that you get some peaks at that shit. I'll say that. Super Sly probably say don't say that. But you can get women where they kind of lose that thing, and that thing can come out. Sometimes even seeing the evil, you can see that shit come out too. You pay attention to that, especially if you're doing it to see. If you're doing it to see if that comes out. Like you trying to hit and trying to see, and you're trying to make that thing come, and so you can watch to see what comes out. That's a good way to tell. You pay attention. Most people like they show movies. The demon face will come out, then it go back in. It'd be almost like that. It really be almost like that if you pay attention. So, and something could really more delightful could even come out. It's like when they talk about a flower could just bud out like that. That is a time to really see a lotus like a motherfucker. You give them women out there, and then women can push that lotus energy out there when they climax, and that lotus pops out there. That's a nice thing to grab onto. It's really powerful, positive. So I'm having to take care of stuff for the ancestors to bring the restless spirits to peace. Oh, okay. Oh, well, like the hardest thing about like, family and even having to call on to the ancestors and when it comes to family and alerting the ancestors to do some work, I mean, that is it's so hard not to write stories. It's just, you do the work and it's like, even after you do the work, it could still be there. Like you just, because you've had to go to the ancestors for this event, and it's like, because the event is still there, it's just almost impossible not to write stories, but you have to stop yourself from writing that negative story or even the positive one. It's just like, do the work, stay neutral, stay neutral, stay neutral. And I know it's hard. Like that's the part of not being surprised I started with tonight. I mean, this thing that is so gross that runs this thing, you can't be surprised by what it would do. What it would do to try to break your heart, try to break you into pieces. I mean, this thing will build you up. This thing will build you up. This thing will build you up to break you, no doubt. Because it wants to see you, if you pay it attention when you get built up. Because some people don't understand on the rise up. Look at everything, look at every floor. And maybe it's like the thing thinks you're up here, but you was cool enough to just say, okay, I don't want all that. I'm going to just stay here and be balanced. And so if it turns, you'll say, I got less steps to take. I'm not going to drop. I'm only going to take 2 steps down lower because I was anticipating this. So I'm not falling. Remember, this thing wants to make you see you suffer. But if you understand that this is what it's about, I mean, they give you the lie of hard work. You can just achieve anything with hard work. What did I talk about with athletes? You have to have so many doors open. You have to have every domino just fall right to some of these things you want to do. And sometimes you can make them all fall down right. And it's just amazing how all of them but one will fall down right. And that one thing may make you go around or make the energy go around and not go the way you needed it to go. I lost the bedroom and it looked like someone else was staring at me behind those eyes. There you go. If mirror is an issue, place wool over it with the intent of locking it and shutting it. Good point, Crazy Stars. Thank you for that. Evil laugh. My homegirl, whose mother and grandmother were into hoodoo, refuses to practice, but when she has sex, the men freak out because her face changed to entity demon, like she doesn't truly understand why. Wow, wow. Well, it's let out. That's a tale. It's let out. It's just like almost the movies show it too. It's almost like that thing that they do in animation. It's really almost like that thing, and sometimes it'll fully pop out. But yeah, it's a good tale. But see, that's a person that ain't really got a lot of control, because there's some people that know this and don't let it out. It comes out in other ways. They can control it in that way. But I'm just saying, if you got a person that's fairly new, ain't as strong, they might reveal themselves during that. But you got others that'd be so many other ways that come out. Like this is the trip one. I was just talking about how everything goes good for you. Some people don't like that. They don't like all that good comes towards them. And you can be with somebody and the good news, you both, like, say it's a letter of just good news. And if you looked at that person while you both read it, that demon would come out because they didn't really like the good news. Because good came in. And the demon really didn't want the good to come in. And you're like, if you pay attention to him, you have to sometimes see how people respond to that. The good, or just something just wholesome comes in, and you just see their response to wholesomeness. And sometimes that demon will come out and be like, fuck this. Came to me the other day and told me it's finally time to do what has to be done. And I didn't know what it meant until today. And it was brought to me. Okay. Yeah, that's you. Sometimes these signs can stomp you. Can restlessness spirits affect your life? Well, I would say that the thing that would affect you more quicker than that would be attachments. And that's why you really gotta control. It's best to have something that cuts, or a knife or something that cuts as you come in and out of your door. Like I have a samurai jack with the sword practice plastic figure, so it cuts off anything when I leave and anything when I come in. And like Ghostbusters with the women show that. Remember they was going in supermarkets and then things was jumping on them as they go into supermarkets. I've done the thing before. They got little entities when you go to a mall or go to a store that jump into you. I've talked about this before. It's little entities that jump into you and make you go spend more money. So we have these kind of energies that monkey on our backs all the time. A lot of them are so fractured and small that they just naturally fall off. But for the stronger ones, it's good to have a practice of knocking them off. That is why, even though this is a potite, which is one of the cheaper zoo lights, this scrubs that shit. Zoo lights get rid of that shit. They are one thing that you could sit with and say, take whatever I did not make an agreement with, and Papa light, pedalite, um, um, like strong ones like natural light, really strong scrubbers. The kunzite, so you can see the pink. Kunzite is another one, but zoo lights. So that's one thing to be aware of. So that's a way to get rid of them, because that's you saying restless spirits. I mean, it takes a lot. I mean, if you're just doing normal stuff, you're not really going to be bothered by that kind of thing. You've got to have some interest in whatever the spirit would come from. So you might be dabbling into something and you could pick something like that up. Again, these zoo lights is great for getting that off you. I don't practice nothing and have been told I need to do shadow work. And I tell them I am the shadow. Just don't get in my way. I like that. I am the shadow. Um, it's funny. I'll say this, like, how do I want to explain this? The thing I see in some of that work, it's almost like, and this is the best way I can explain it. I don't want to, I don't really want to pitch this though. I don't want to, what's a better way to say it? Because I don't want to throw what I'm thinking and I don't want that to come out. So this is the way I can say it. It's like, okay, if you start working with that, you really better contain where you work with it. That's the best way I could say. Get you some selenite sticks, throw four around you, do it in a contained area, because the problem would be is I don't even want to put this out there. I really don't want to put this out there, but if you don't contain something like that, it could show up. Okay. It's almost like this, where you seeing a person walk and the person turns the corner and walks away. Now you was looking straight and you saw a person, but you thought they was about to turn. Did they really turn and walk away to the left or the right? Or did you just think they did? If that makes sense. You will tend to that's all I want to say. That's the only way I can put it without putting this the rest out. I'm not going to put that out. I don't want to put that ideal out there. But it's that. So you see a person, and when you look up again, he's gone, but you weren't sure if he went left or right. That's the best way I can say it without because it's kind of like the answer is kind of a hex. And I don't want to put that out there like that because it will put it out there, and I don't want to put it out there. But it's contain it. That's all I'll say. You got to learn to contain something like that. Mm. Yeah. So if you mess with that shadow work, definitely contain it. Be somewhere you're comfortable with it, where you're in charge. Uh, yeah, and start small, like the magicians with Julia. Start small. Don't be in a hurry. That kind of thing. And that's any magic. Don't just like that's what the magicians try to tell you with Julia. Don't just dive into that shit. You got to really do what your calling is. Do what your level is. You don't need to jump over any steps. If it doesn't feel right, stop. Bad vision, make it go away. All those kind of things. But if you find joy in that, I mean, you can learn to control it. Yeah. Also, be careful of things that can hold on to certain energy, like having a necklace that you wore during a traumatic event. Yeah, that's what I talk about with diamonds. That's the problem with diamonds. Diamonds amplify. And if you don't constantly clean diamonds, like I've said this before, you married to somebody and you both wearing diamonds and you get in an argument, the diamond will amplify that argument. And the longer you don't clean or wash that diamond off, it is going to hold that energy. It just really is. It really is. And diamonds are very, most people wear, if anybody wears any kind of rock, most people wear diamonds. And diamonds are, if you don't clean them, like she said, you get that negative situation, diamonds can amplify. Now, like selenite, shungite, shungite, they'll never hold any negative energy. That's why people like stuff like this around. It'll never hold any negative energy. Diamond will hold negative energy like a motherfucker. That's why people don't understand. When you fuck with diamonds, you really got to understand this is one great amplifier. Diamonds will amplify like a motherfucker, but it can amplify good, it can amplify bad, it can amplify sideways. So it's best to always wash them. Like even more so when you wear diamonds, it's good to wash your diamond all the time because you never know, just negative vibe. You just might get a negative vibe from somebody, and if you got that negative vibe from somebody while you was wearing a diamond and you go throughout your day, that shit would kind of stay with you because this again, it's going to amplify that feeling. And so if you get that feeling around somebody or a situation and you wearing diamonds, just go splash it off. It's that simple. Just go splash the diamond off, reset it. They reset easy. That's the good thing about diamonds. They're really easy to reset. You ain't got to sit there and, put them in the cleanser. Just run them under some water. Simple cleanse. They reset very easy. But yeah. Hey, Trill, what's happening? That's why I say if you got negative stuff in your house, get rid of the shit. I don't care how much you pay for it. If you got a couch and the couch give you a weird feeling, get rid of that shit. Uh, I know a bed is most people pay a lot of money for beds, but even a bed, you never know. How does one find their calling, or is the answer inside you? Yeah, it's definitely inside you. Uh, I mean, it's passion. What do you enjoy doing? You know, like if there was never sports, I would still help people do things. I would have coached in some capacity. If there were never sports, I would have still coached people in some way. Whatever we were doing, I would have helped people do that kind of thing. So I would have um, worked with people to accomplish goals. Even without sports, I would have teamed up with people to do things. I mean, this is just my path, is to work with people, at times large groups to accomplish things. And that's the beautiful thing about football. In college, you got about 80 people. Pros ain't as many. It's about 50. About 50, I think it's 57, 58 now. Well, close. Yeah, I think with the extra game, they got one or two extra players. So 50. So it used to be eight. Maybe it's up to 9 or 10 now. So you're talking about roughly 60 people. But college would be like 80 people. And, 80 people to carry it through. So I would have done the same thing even without sports. So fasting helps cleanse. I see shadow people all the time. I see beings from the other side that will stare at me in admiration, like they want me to invite me in. So I tell them to go away. I got enough entities living with me. Yeah, and that's the good thing. That's part of what I didn't want to bring up. If you see it, then yeah, yeah. But that's the thing is, the more you work with that, you can make that grow. That's all. That's kind of what I didn't want to mention is that sometimes when you work with that, if you don't control it, that will grow around you. It will definitely grow around you. And it's not hard to start seeing that pop up more than you'll want it to pop up. So I'm glad you put that out instead of me, because I didn't want to say it to put it out there. As far as people experience, the way you put it, people want to experience. So thank you, Miss Cindy. Fasting helps cleanse the body and spirit. I heard it can also unlock superpowers. Yeah, yeah. Towards the end of the fast, yeah. Well, concentration too. Again, you're detoxifying everything. There's a lot of different ways to fast, but you're detoxifying a lot of things for sure. So, yeah, you can. You definitely can. Um, just take care of yourself to make sure that you're up to the fast. That's another way to look at it. That you are definitely up to it, and you take care of yourself, and you know how you're going to respond. But yeah, there's a lot of just to detoxify too. That's why saunas are so good. This is something else. Is like sometimes when you meditate, you'll start itching and stuff. I say let it go, don't scratch it, because a lot of times when you meditate, you'll feel a scratch, something that you'll start feeling an itch. It's your body pushing shit out of you, and so a lot of times, like you'll feel something, and if you scratch it, you rub it back in. You'll actually rub it back in. So it's something trying to get away, but because to you it feels like an itch, and it hopes you do it, and you rub it back in. But if you just fight that as you're meditating and you're feeling yourself itch and stuff, just let it go, because it's another way of detoxing. Shit's leaving, so don't hold it back in. Be like have your eyes closed, and you be like, shit's trying to come out your face, and you holding it back in. So keep that in mind. That's another possibility. Oh, but yeah, it's late. Oh, good, good. I'm about to put my coffee on. I'm about to put my coffee on. Wanted to see if I could go 2 hours tonight. We'll see. I had about 15 minutes to see if I can do 2 hours, because I haven't done a long broadcast in a long time, and this full moon is the perfect time. I mean, the thing about spirituality, there's no one way, no right way, no really wrong way. And even meditating is whatever works for you, whatever quiet you can get, whatever um, part of your mind that you can, put everything out. It's whatever works for you. Sometimes some people light candles and just can close their eyes and they just can relax from that smell of the candle. I mean, there's so many different ways. Music. That's why I say one thing that has always moved my kundalini is especially old R&B music. That is one of the easiest ways to move my kundalini, to help my vibration. And it's funny, generations after me don't just really, I said that the other night. So people say, well, I always listen to old school. Well, it's really good to listen to that kind of music, because you really don't hear it on the radio. The cities that got real radio, or even Sirius, you have to really turn to one of those channels. But if you turn to popular music, you don't hear a lot of that music, high vibrational music. And for most cases, see, country will talk about, how Your old lady left you and you started drinking and you just falling on your face drunk. Where R&B song, it just, it won't make you get drunk and fall on your face. It's just you proclaim your love, and if she don't go with it, well, that's just too bad. You'll pass it to the next one. But they do say, my life will never ever be complete. Come back to me. It's you that I need. That's putting it on them. It's you that I need, baby. Like the movie Car Wash. I don't know if y'all remember this part, but there's one dude, his woman is mad because he wants to quit college. He's 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 doing car wash and he's going to school, and he had told his mama or something he's about to quit college, and he hits her with, well, I mean, just the way he says it, he hits her with that, and he just throws that rap on her. It's like, I want to work. And there's always time for college. I want you to still go, but I'm gonna work a couple different jobs till we figure it out. But I like the way he hits her with that. When he tells her about his plan, he hits her with, and she's like, she's on board with it. Is weed the daily bread? I think people are making it that. You think babies, we create our spirits from portals? Example, ancestors rebirthing? Because I don't think angels truly like us at all. Um, our babies create spirits from portals. That kind of gets into reincarnation. Your whole question is kind of like reincarnation question. I just, not every time. Not every time. There's some, I've said that before. Brother Bomber said this years ago. There are some people, and others have said this too. But there are people that like reincarnating because they think every time they come back, they're helping humankind, opening up portholes. I don't know if it needs that for every time. I don't know, but that's, your question is very much like reincarnation. So I don't think so. Is weed the daily bread? Yeah, kind of is. That's a good kind of way. Remember, what did he say? They made cookies popular. Cookies could be looked at. They call some cookies are called bread, type of like chocolate chip bread. But yeah, cookies. Old school music always brings me back to my childhood memories with my parents, even though I hate it when they played oldies every weekend. Sing it. Hey, Dread, almost time for lunar eclipse. No, it's past. The lunar eclipse was at 1:11. It was at 1:11 Eastern time. Pretty sure. Cause let's see, right here, right here, right here. Yeah. Feel the joy of selling your. Mute it. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it was 1:11. I'll show you. This is my local TV did a thing on it. Mm. He's just talking about the red moon, but a map in a second comes on. He shows the times. Oh, here we go. Maximum eclipse. So yeah, I guess he's right. It started at the partial eclipse started 1:18 Eastern. So now, yeah, I guess we are coming to the last partial eclipse at 4:47. So yeah, I guess, yeah. So we're still in it. Thank you. Yep, Dread. So we're still in it. So we're still in it. So there's still time to manifest. So started 1:18. It won't end until, so my time will be 3:47. So good. I got time to get off. So thank you. Thank you, Dread. I'm talking shit. Thank you. Yep. Thank you, Dread. You are right. We are still in it. So and everybody absorb that energy. You've got another 45 minutes of it. So thank you so much, Dread. I'm talking shit, but you're right. You are right. You are right. So we got 45 minutes. So those of you still want to, bring that energy in, it's still going. Still going. Let me make sure that not being infiltrated. So thank you for bringing that up, that people can still enjoy. Ah, so thank you so much, Dread. Yes, thank you. Yep. So it's not too late. That's why they say this is the longest one in 500 years. So those of you that would like to meditate now, you can still get in touch with it. You got another 45 minutes. Yeah. I feel strong energy. Yeah. Like I was saying, I work with, I started with the Lemurian cube, and then um, I switched to the Numite, my big Numite wand, the Numite, and then I brought in my Shugite, my Sharite. I can't even think of what the name of it is. But I work with two of them. Then I have a piece of pedalite, and I put the piece of pedalite back here at first, and then it loosened up, and then I put it here. And when I put it here, when it really maxed out, it was like whoa, because I vibe real high in like a golden kind of frequency, and it like just. Woof. I was like, oh, this is what it was waiting for. It just really gave me that woof. So yeah, I'm gonna go get some more of that. I'm gonna definitely get some more of that. But it was funny how just working with it and just taking it from back here to putting it around, and it just like really held a vibration where whoa. So kind of glad I'll have a little more because that's why again I started meditating at Eastern time. It would have been 105 Eastern time. And I didn't stop meditating until, well, my time, it was 12:05 when I started. I thought I was going to meditate for about 20 minutes. And when I came out of it, was 10 to 1. So I really thought I was going to come on here at 12:30. And I didn't end up coming on here till like 1 o'clock my time. So, yeah. I've noticed sleep deprivation seems to thin the veil between this world and the spirit world. Well, it's almost like we was talking about fasting. It can give you that same type of. It could. It could give you a little bit of clarity. Um, Being sleepy could put a lot of illusion coming in too, though. So keep that in mind. So, yes, it could, but also you bring illusion in. And for those of you that can really create, just remember, be here now. If you haven't read the book, just get that saying, be here now. Because, well, what did he say in the song? I can make right now be all right. I can make right now be all right. Because to manifest, you have to enjoy the moment to manifest. That's what people don't understand. You have to really enjoy this to have that. That's kind of how this thing really weirdly works. As I was saying before, sometimes you have to trick this system. You really do. So I gave the example the other night. It's like you got all your gold going to this, but you really want that. And that's a real thing. And it'll take this away because you put it out there and you want it. Like you put it out there to this thing like bait. And sometimes this thing will grab that bait, but the other thing, in the whole situation, you got to grab that with you. And the other thing, you'd be like, you took the bait thing and boom, this is what I really want. And it has to give you a high five. Well, you got me, you tricked me. We wanted to fuck you up with this. We knew that you liked that. But you got us. We'll pay attention next time. Yeah, you just keep tricking this thing. How do you differentiate between illusion and reality? What happened today? Freaking car disappeared behind me. That's what happened this evening. I was driving home and there was a car that just fucking followed me for miles. I what is that? So I was in the other lane. So it was like we were in lanes like this. I got in front of it. I got in front of it, but there was a slow truck in front of me, so I went back. No, no, it wasn't like that. No, it was like this. So I was going by it. It was a truck behind us. I got in front of this car behind me. So one time we was going and I went on the other lane. So this car was there. So I got over to let that other car go and I kept going and there's nowhere to turn. And out of nowhere, this car just like ain't behind me no more. And it's like it was no turn off, nowhere for this car to go. The car just freaking disappeared. I was like, this is some bullshit again. Like, cause I looked in my mirrors, like, where's this little car? It's been following me forever. It just disappeared. So, and I know a lot of people don't like this, but all of it is really illusion. It all really is. That's the problem with moments. You understand when you understand what moments are, you see how a moment is just made up of an illusion. Like if you really look at everything it takes to make your eyes, everything flips because everything could be perceived as upside down. I mean, if you really look at all that and how it makes this thing, I mean, you can really see that none of this shit can really be real the way they explain it. The way it's explained that everything works, this can't really be real. That's one way. But the other thing is to understand the now, to understand the now. Really understand the now and take the now as just for the now and not what you expect from things. And I know that sounds weird, but it's like we can't really have it both ways. It's either it's all illusion or none of it's illusion. It's kind of really the way you gotta, the way you really, if you put it, the balance out here, there is really no balance of the way this thing is. It's either all or none almost kind of deal. You got to deal with it. And you can go back and forth with it, but for the most part, if you study how all this comes about, makes you doubt if any of it's real. It's like the episode of Wishmaster when the guy wants $1 million, he gets a call, his family died in a plane crash, and the death benefit was $1 million. It's called balance, right? There you go. Because nothing comes from nothing. There you go. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You got to have something if you want to be with me. And then they changed it to you got to have a job if you want to be with me. Same song, same. That's a good way to put it, Cindy. Very good way to put it. Trying to manifest reality can be exhausting. I can see why people would rather pray to God and surrender their will. Yeah, absolutely. Um, like even having to call on the ancestors, it can be so, yeah, it can be so heart wrenching. I mean, it's good to have a relationship with them. So when you call on them, they do answer. But the situations that come out, especially for me, when I would really feel that it's necessary, really feel that it's necessary to call them, sometimes that's tough. The situation's tough. But I've learned to understand that, I must be doing good enough work. Trying to have you heard about Constitution being purchased? Some company purchased a copy of the Constitution for the no one on social media is talking about it. No, nothing but truth. I haven't heard of that. No, I haven't heard of that at all. Unless you just go into what they did after Reconstruction when it was turned into a corporation. I mean, there's a paper that shows Ron Wood. There's a paper after Woodrow Wilson passed income tax and stuff that around the papers around that time say that all the millionaires at the time purchased the country or purchased the corporation. So Uh, Seems like it's very convenient with all the distractions in the community. Well, I've said this before. They, this is how dirty our country would do. Our country would start a war with China and lose on purpose and let China take the West Coast, like the man in the high castle. Because if you really look at World War II, them Nazis did not lose. And when you see the Bushes becoming president, the Nazis didn't lose. They made it look like they lost, but they didn't really lose. Them Nazi rockets they still using. That was Nazi shit that helped the so-called atom bomb. But all these rockets around the world come from these Nazis. Shit. So, what's funny is the Jewish faith people still drive Benz. You would think Jewish faith people wouldn't drive Benz, but they do. They have no problem driving Benz. And Benzes is what the Nazis. Boss clothes is still some of the most expensive clothes. So you can get a Mercedes Benz driving a Nazi car, and you can buy some Boss clothes still. So you could be dressed like a Nazi. I mean the newest version, but you could have the newest version of being a Nazi. Boss clothes in the car. It's equivalent. Do you have surrender? Do you have to surrender your will to communicate with your ancestors? Nah. That's if something's asking you to do that, something's trying to feed on you. I would run away from that. No, you don't have to surrender your will. What would you have to surrender it for? Do good work. Be a good person. That's the easiest way to communicate with them. I mean, they look at your deeds. So your deeds speak loud, your deeds speak louder than, having to surrender your will. Now, if you say your will is to be a good person and do good deeds, okay. I don't really think you'd have to surrender it to make that transformation. I think you could just transfer it with, being a good person without surrendering your will, you know, like that's the trade off for you to be a good person. You could just be a good person, hold a high vibration. So, I heard the Nazis never lost the war. They came to America and went to Antarctica. I don't know if they up there. They definitely went to Brazil. There are 13 official copies of the Constitution. Private buyers are paying big money. I feel that there should be something that can be bought. I don't know that, but it's a little weird, very weird. My grandfather would walk around with me every morning for 3 hours every day until he died. I did light candle for him, even though he died when I was 2 years old. Grandma would tell me, "Wow, that's deep." It's like when my grandfather, no, my grandmother died, and you know, I wasn't using sage at the time, and one of my cousins came in with the sage. He knew, he knew a little more than we did at the time because that was the first thing that was really done. Like soon as everything was spoken, and he bust out the sage and gave a little chant. So he was aware, and that was '06 maybe. And I wasn't aware enough to bust the sage out and help her cross over. Yep. So that's cool that you would do that. But that's cool because like you can have a couple different kind of shrines. You can have ancestral shrine, and you can have an energy shrine. So whichever one works for you, you can have both. Ooh. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna be leaving in a minute. Well, I'm gonna have to cut this off because I'm gonna be leaving. Got to start making my coffee. Thank you guys for this late night post. Again, you got about another half hour to get into these energies. Do Even though I have no actual memory until I was 8, how can I remember nothing before 8 years old? Do I want to open that Pandora's box? I was lucky. I think I was maybe a year when I became aware. But you know what? My son is 26. He don't remember being little. He really doesn't. Most of my children don't remember being little. They don't have these memories like I have, or unless they some Facebook memories, some shit like that. But yeah, and I remember shit when I was 2. I'm pretty sure my first memory I was 1. I could walk, but I was still being carried like, in the old cars, you would just be laid in a blanket in the back. And I can remember being that little. Like there was an instance where they put me in the sink to give me a bath, and my mother said, "Don't get dirty," and put clothes on me. And we had a dog. I walked up to the dog, and the dog knocked me down. Couldn't have been older than two. Couldn't have been older than two when that happened. Like my grandfather killed the dog. I know it must have scared my mother, because I mean, they let a 1 or 2 year old just go outside by himself. I mean, literally, this is what she did. She told me, "Don't get dirty," and the road was so far away, I couldn't walk to the road because they was looking through the kitchen, but looking out the window at me. But yeah, as soon as she had walked back in the house, she must have heard me scream because I walked up to the dog and there was a boxer and he knocked me on my back and I screamed, started crying. So I know that had to hurt him to tell because they knew what my grandfather was going to do to the dog. But yeah, I burn sage, palo santo, or motovi incense every day. That's nice. I generally like. I had a candle that had three different flavors. My cat is kind of sensitive to that stuff, but even though I was burning in my bedroom, it was giving me some issues. So, but I try to burn incense in my bedroom every day. I like that smell before I go to sleep. I really do. I'm outside looking at the moon now. Oh, that's sweet. I'm sweet. Is there a certain way to burn sage? Don't catch shit on fire for sure. Like sage will catch some shit on fire. I've had wildfires from sage. That's one thing I'll tell you. Sage will catch on fire like a motherfucker. So always have a dish where you can put it out. But sage will fool you because it'll burn inside. You won't even realize it's burning. So I have a big dish like this, big casserole dish I use mine in. But like when you want to do a sage bath, you can either start in your head and go around, but like really do it like a bath. Burn the sage down the side of your legs. I mean, really, really do it like that. I mean, it's really a way you can do it. Put it on your body and everything. That's a good way. And then one good thing, like we were talking about shadow work, one good thing with sage is sage and incense can get in corners. And so you really want to hit your corners. So burn it in your corners because that's where the shadows can hide. So you really want to go into the corners. That's a good place to put sage if you can. Don't go under beds and catch the bed on fire. But I'm saying corners you have access to, run the sage in the corners. If you have pictures up like this, run the sage on all your pictures in your house. You got pictures of your children, all that, because all that helps work with you. And so I sage all that. Like I try to sage the whole room, especially if I have pictures up. I definitely sage everything. I sage the books. I got all these cards laying around because I want them exposed. So, but yeah, you guys got about Master Teacher DeMarco. There's my man, Master Teacher DeMarco. I ask everybody to get in with Master Teacher DeMarco. He really gives some truths. I hope one day he comes on with me. But he has great information. So check him out for sure. He's one of the people that I do watch pretty regularly. He comes on. You normally see me in there. Jeffrey came across a couple times. So definitely. But yeah, when you do sage, use all that. I mean, just you can be that thorough. And don't forget to do your bathroom. Don't forget to do your bathroom. A lot of people don't put protections in their bathroom. And I found out that was one of my, in this place, that was one of where it just was some energy in there that twirled. So I've got a little, what do you call them? I've got a little figure in there that kicks that shit's ass. So consider that. Like consider sage in your bathroom too, or incense. Incense, you can do the incense too. Incense, more people have access to incense than they do sage. Um, Sage has a better bacteria remover aspect to it. Sage is like having Lysol. If you sage your whole house, it's almost like you went through your whole house with Lysol. Sage is that purifying disinfectant. Sage is a very good disinfectant of airborne things. And that's another reason why you would put sage out there because sage will disinfect, airborne things, strong disinfectant. So that's another reason to put it everywhere too. So, especially your kitchen, bathroom, your bedrooms, I like it, all that. So, all that. I hope I'm not walk-in. I hope I'm not a walk-in. Is there anything I can do at work for the new moon energy, Neptune Queen? Just bring it in. Like, looks like there's another 15 minutes of the last part of the lunar, and just breathe. You can just get some breaths. If you're at work and you just have a few minutes, just kind of breathe that in. The because what's happening is the Earth's shadow is hitting the moon, as they tell you that the Earth would kind of cut off the moon, the light that hits the moon, and so if there's something you're trying to manifest or even need to move, it's a good time to just feel that movement. Wow, why does it look like that? Interesting, but it's a time to hit that movement. So it's just a great time to manifest. All this negative we about to be hit with these next few weeks of them pushing their fake New Year in, their fake Christmas in, their fake Thanksgiving in. This is a good time to kind of use and try to banish that from you, your psyche. I mean, it's not that you're not going to participate, but it's kind of like, participate on your own terms and not the way they use it. So use it against them. Too many mirrors in your house, bad. Like Crazy Sarge said, if you've got a weird, um, like Crazy Sarge says, sometimes you got to take entity out one mirror and banish it out the other mirror. If you figure that out about your mirrors, I mean, that's a possibility. But if like a lot of when I was younger, people covered mirrors. They just did. Like they only exposed the mirrors when they used them. Some people still have those traditions. So is there too many? Like in the 80s, people would have like a whole wall of just mirrors. That was the style for a while. You go into maybe a den or something and just be nothing but mirrors. And sometimes that energy is harmless. That energy ain't gonna really bother you. If you do feel you've got to exit and enter mirror, you might want to get rid of them if unless you know how to mess with that kind of thing, you know. Um, yeah. But if you don't, leave it alone. But you can cover it. If the mirrors make you uncomfortable, you can cover them. Like some people won't sleep with mirrors in their room, they'll cover them. So I've got an open one. It don't really bother me. I cover my obsidian mirrors. I do because they are type of portals, and so they should be covered. Like my obsidian globe, the same way I cover that because it is a type of portal. You leave that open, you can kind of stuff and kind of use it. So that's all. Yeah, if you feel the negative in the mirror, yeah, just replace them. Take them down or take one of them down. Yeah, yep. So not necessarily, that goes back into like breaking mirrors was, servants didn't because mirrors were so expensive. That was something they made up. Uh, so, but the obsidian mirrors definitely comes from the Americas. Well, I am gonna have to go. I gotta get ready to leave. So, thank you everybody. I appreciate you coming in. And before I leave, I will give you a little bit of the time walking information, and it's called Mora. It all starts with a gentle sadness. They came from their original homeland. They knew that they had exact numbers of years and days before they would disappear off the earth as a culture and a lifestyle. But the civilization would build to a gentle love. They lived in the Creator's day and knew how to separate cycles in the great serpent. And as the Mayan would say, and the Omen, I am another yourself. So this is Eight Wind. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, the people that will watch this in the future. And as I always say, when it's time to go, till we meet again, thank you.